أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لا يتخذ المؤمنون الكافرين أولياء من دون المؤمنين ومن يفعل ذلك فليس من الله في شيء إلا أن تتقوا منهم تقاه ويحذركم الله نفسه وإلى الله المصير. صدق الله العظيم. This is verse number 228 of Surah Al-Imran. In these verses, Muslims have been instructed not to take disbelievers as their friends. Those who act against this instruction have been sternly warned. Those who take them as friends will find that their bond of love and friendship with Allah has been cut off. Any emotionally involved friendship that comes from the heart is absolutely forbidden. However, a formal friendship at the level of mutual dealings is no doubt permissible, but that too is not favored if unnecessary. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in this verse that لا يتخذ المؤمنون الكافرين أولياء. The believers must not take the disbelievers as friends instead of the believers. وَمَنْ يَفْعَلْ ذَلِكَ, and whoever does that, فَلَيْسَ مِنَ اللَّهِ فِي شَيْءٍ, has no relation with Allah whatsoever. إِلَّا أَن تَتَّقُوا مِنْهُمْ تُقَاهُ, unless you do so as a protective measure in order to save yourself from them, unless you guard yourself against an apprehension from them. And Allah warns you people of Himself, and to Allah is the final return. So there are so many verses in the Holy Quran which deal this subject. Like it was said in Surah Al-Mumtahina, para number 28, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu la tattakhidhu aduwwi wa aduwwakum awliya'a tulquna ilayhim bil mawaddah. It means, O those who believe, do not take my enemy and your enemy as friends, having love for them. Then towards the end of this verse it was said, وَمَنْ يَفْعَلْهُ مِنْكُمْ فَقَدْ ضَلَّ سَوَاءَ السَّبِيلِ. And whoever from among you does this, he has gone astray from the right path. Elsewhere in the Holy Quran it was said, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا لَا تَتَّخِذُوا الْيَهُودَ وَالنَّصَارَى أَوْلِيَاءَ بَعْضُهُمْ أَوْلِيَاءُ بَعْضٍ وَمَنْ يَتَوَلَّهُمْ مِنْكُمْ فَإِنَّهُ مِنْهُمْ. O those who believe, do not take Jews or Christians as friends, for they are friends among themselves, and whoever has friendship with them, he is one of them. And it appears in Surah Al-Mujadala in another verse, لا تجد قوما يؤمنون بالله واليوم الآخر يوادون من حاد الله ورسوله ولو كانوا آباءهم أو أبناءهم أو إخوانهم أو عشيرتهم. It means, you shall not find those who believe in Allah and in the hereafter having friendship with those who have enmity with Allah and His messengers, even though they may be their fathers or sons or brothers or members of their tribe. So in this verse Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states the subject relations with disbelievers. So in the verses I mentioned now, Muslims have been strongly prevented from muwalat. Muwalat means close friendship with non-Muslims. That friendship which based on love and friendship. Looking at these clear instructions, non-Muslims who are not aware of the true intention and application of this rule start thinking that the religion of Muslims does not seem to have any place for tolerance or bilateral relations or even common courtesy. On the other hand, there are a large number of verses from the Holy Quran, the words and the acts of the noble Prophet ﷺ, the practice of the rightly guided Khulafa Rashidin, and other revered companions, which bring to light injunctions and actual modes of dealing with non-Muslims by way of favor, compassion, generosity, sympathy, and concern, which has little or parallel in world history. A superficial look on these different attitudes may sense a sort of contradiction therein. But this feeling is a result of only a cursory study of the true teachings of the Holy Quran. If we collect all the verses of the Holy Quran relating to the subject and we study them all together, we shall find nothing which could bother non-Muslims, nor shall there remain any doubt of contradiction in the text of the Holy Quran. So, then we have to explain there are some degrees of relationship with the non-Muslims. But first, the truth of the matter is that there are different degrees, or you can say steps or levels in relations between two persons or groups. The first degree of such relations comes from the heart, that of affection and love, involving intense emotional commitment. This is called muwalat in Arabic language. In English, we can translate it close friendship. This sort of friendship is restricted to true Muslims. A Muslim is not permitted to have this kind of relationship with a non-Muslim. The second degree is that of muwasat, which means relationship based on sympathy, kindness, and concern. It includes charitable help and support, condolence and consolation, and any well-meaning attitude of wishing well. So, bearing disbelievers who are at war with Muslims, this kind of relationship is permissible with all other non-Muslims. Only those non-Muslim who are at war with Muslims, so this muwasat based on the sympathy is not allowed with them because they are fighting against the Muslims. So in this case we will not show any sympathy to them. The third degree is that of mudarat. In Arabic, mudarat means relations based on customary cordiality, adequacy and courtesy, pleasant and friendly behavior, and mannerly politeness. This too is permissible with all non-Muslims, especially so when the objective is to present them the some beneficial aspect of the faith, or when they are guests, or the purpose is to stay safe from any possible harm coming through them. That is why in this verse Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِلَّا أَن تَتَّقُوا مِنْهُمْ تُقَى, unless you guard yourself against any apprehension, against any fear from them. So this in this verse, this is the mudarat, which in other words means that muwalat or friendship with disbeliever is not permissible except when you are in a situation where you want to defend yourself against them. So, since mudarat or sympathetic relations somewhat resemble muwalat or friendship, it was exempted from the category of muwalat. So, muwalat, close friendship, is not permissible, while mudarat is permissible. When you, for example, talk with them like in a behavior, in a polite way, but not uh, having close friendship in your heart. The fourth degree is that of muamalat. Muamalat means dealings. So it means dealings and transactions in business or employment or wages or industry or technology. So these two are permissible with non-Muslims, except when such dealings harm the general body of Muslims. The, the continued practice of the Holy Prophet ﷺ and the rightly guided Khulafai Rashideen and other companions prove it so, because they have done dealings with non-Muslims. So it is on this base that Muslim jurists, Muslim scholar, well-founded scholar, have prohibited the sale of arms to disbelievers who are at war with Muslims. If non-Muslims are fighting with Muslims, then in this case, dealing with non-Muslim regarding the arms and weapons, then it is not allowed, because if we will do such dealing with them in this case, so non-Muslim will use this weapons against the Muslims. That is why in a situation when there is a war between Muslim and non-Muslim, so such dealing is also is not permissible. So this is the four categories and the steps of the relationships. So, however, trade and activities allied to it have been permitted. Also, it is allowed that to take them employees or being employed in their institutions. It is also allowed. Let me sum up. So, as for the four degrees of relations with non-Muslims, we know that friendship which binds a Muslim in a very close ties with non-Muslim is not permissible under any condition. Relations based on benevolence, human interest, and concern are permitted with all but those non-Muslim who are belligerent, who are at war with the Muslims. Similarly, politeness and friendly treatment is also permissible when the purpose is to entertain a guest, convey Islamic teachings to non Muslims, or to stay safe against being hurt or harmed by them. So, this is the four degrees. So, let me explain some events or the practice of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, which he has conducted with the non-Muslims. Like the Holy Prophet ﷺ, who graced this world as the universal mercy, he did for non-Muslims something. He demonstrated such compassion, generosity, politeness while dealing with them that it would be difficult to find its example in the world history. Like when Mecca was in the grip of famine, he personally went out to help his enemies who had made him leave his hometown. Then came to the conquest of Mecca. When he conquered Mecca, all these enemies fell under his power and control, but he set all of them free, saying, La tasriba alaykum al-yawm, which means not only that you are being given amnesty this day. We are not censuring you at all for your past tyranny against us either. So, when non Muslim prisoners of war were presented before him, sometimes he treated them with such tenderness which many cannot claim to have done even in respect of their children. The disbelievers inflicted on him all sorts of injuries and pain, but he never raised his hand in revenge. He did not even wish ill of them. Like once a delegation from the tribe of Banu Saqif, who had not accepted Islam up to that time, they came to visit him. They were given the honor of staying in the mosque of the Prophet ﷺ, a place regarded by Muslims as most honorable place at that time. So, this explanation clarified two things. Firstly, Islam teaches its adherents, followers, all possible tolerance, decency, and benevolence while dealing with non Muslim. Secondly, the superficial contradiction sensed with regard to the verse forbidding friendship with non Muslims stands removed. So, like Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu, he has given stipends and allowances to needy non-Muslims, zimmis, and he has done a lot of activities for non-Muslim while he was a Muslim ruler. So let us bear in mind that all these were in one or the other form of muwasat, mudarat, muamalat. It had nothing to do with mu'alat or close and intimate friendship which had been forbidden. So, four things. Mu'alat. Mu'alat means close friendship. It is strictly prohibited with non-Muslim in any condition. Second one, muwasat. Relationship with based on sympathy. Another mudarat, to show politeness, courtesy for some purpose. Third one, dealing, muamalat, it is allowed with non-Muslims. But yes, as I told you, in the time of war, it is not allowed with them, especially dealing or selling weapons and arms on the non-Muslims. So now one question is remaining, that why Quran forbid us from having friendship with the disbelievers, so much so that it has not allowed it in favor of any disbeliever under any condition. What is the wisdom behind it? One of the reasons, a particular one, is that Islam does not see men existing in this world like common animals or like jungle trees and blades of grass which sprout, grow, flourish, and die, and that is the end of it. Instead of that, man's life in this world is a purposeful life. All stages and phases of his life, that is, his eating, drinking, standing, sitting, sleeping, waking, even his living and dying, all revolve around a central purpose. As long as what he does conforms to this purpose, all he does is correct and sound. If these are against that purpose, then they are all wrong. So now, when it stands established that the purpose of man's life is to obey and worship Allah, because Allah has repeatedly saying in the Holy Quran that I have created you people only for my worship, Allah says. So now everything which goes against the obedience to Allah, it is wrong. Whether it relates to business, whether it relates to government, whether it relates to politics. So everything which goes against the obedience of Allah, it will be wrong. That is why we see that Satan is the foremost in this enmity. The Holy Quran says, "Inna shaytana lakum aduwwun fattakhiduhu aduwwa." Surely Satan is your enemy, so take him as enemy, because Satan is trying to misguide the man from the right path. So that is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ordered us not to take those people as friends which are against the Allah and His Messenger. So the disbeliever, they are against the Quran and against the teachings of the Holy Quran, against the Allah, because they do not accept the final and last messenger and they do not follow the divine book Quran. Thus those who now, it is like and this the same subject, like the Holy Prophet ﷺ explained in a hadith, in which he said that man ahabba lillahi wa abghada lillahi faqad istakmala al-iman. Whoever loves for the sake of Allah and hates for the sake of Allah, he has perfected his faith. So now this hadith shows that we have to love with someone, or we have to have hate for someone for the sake of Allah. So from here we know that Iman, faith, remains incomplete unless man subordinates his love and friendship and his hatred and enmity to Allah Almighty. Therefore, any emotional commitment by a true Muslim and the known forms of love and friendship has to be exclusively for one who is with him all the way in the pursuit of this noble purpose, and certainly obedient to what his Lord has commanded him to do. This is why the Holy Quran has in different verses, especially in this verse, said that the one who maintains relations based on deep love and friendship with disbelievers, he is one of them. So this is the explanation of this verse. لا يتخذ المؤمنون الكافرين. The believers must not take the disbelievers أولياء من دون الكافرين من دون المؤمنين as friends instead of the believers. ومن يفعل ذلك, and whoever does that, فليس من الله في شيء, has no relation with Allah whatsoever. إلا أن تتقوا, unless you guard yourself against an apprehension minhum from them, or unless you do so as a protective measure in order to save yourself from them. وَيُحَذِّرُكُمُ اللَّهُ نَفْسَهُ, and Allah warns you of Himself. Meaning Allah warns you that do not do this, O believers. It will create problems for you people. Then you will become weak if you will do so. You have to strong your group, believers, not the opposite group, the disbelievers. وَيُحَذِّرُكُمُ اللَّهُ نَفْسَهُ, and Allah warns you of Himself. وَإِلَى اللَّهِ الْمَصِيرُ, and to Allah is the return, is the final return. Then Allah will ask that why you have had such close relationship, friendship with non-Muslims. لا يتخذ المؤمنون الكافرين. The believers must not take al-kafirina, the disbelievers, awliya, as friends, min dun al-mu'minin, instead of the believers. وَمَنْ يَفْعَلْ ذَلِكَ, and whoever does that, فَلَيْسَ مِنَ اللَّهِ, he has no relation with Allah, fi shay'in, whatsoever. Illa an tattaqu, unless an tattaqu, you guard yourself, minhum, from them, tuqatan, if you guard yourself against an apprehension, minhum from them, وَيُحَذِّرُكُمُ اللَّهُ نَفْسَهُ, and Allah warns you of Himself, وَإِلَى اللَّهِ الْمَصِيرُ, and to Allah is the return. Again, لَا يَتَّخِذِ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الْكَافِرِينَ, the believers must not take the disbelievers أولياء من دون المؤمنين as friends instead of the believers. وَمَنْ يَفْعَلْ ذَلِكَ, and whoever does that, فَلَيْسَ مِنَ اللَّهِ فِي شَيْءٍ, has no relation with Allah whatsoever, إِلَّا أَن تَتَّقُوا, unless you guard yourself against an apprehension, minhum from them, وَيُحَذِّرُكُمُ اللَّهُ نَفْسَهُ, and Allah warns you of Himself, وَإِلَى اللَّهِ الْمَصِيرُ, and to Allah is the return. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لا يتخذ المؤمنون. لا يتخذ mean must not take. Al-mu'minuna, the believers. Al-kafirin, the disbelievers. Awliya, as friends. Min duni, instead of. Al-mu'minin, believers. وَمَنْ يَفْعَلْ, and whoever does that. ذَلِكَ, that. فَلَيْسَ مِنَ اللَّهِ, he has no relation. Min Allah, with Allah. Fi shay'in, whatsoever. Illa, unless. An tattaqu, you guard yourself. Minhum, from them. Tuqatan, against an apprehension. وَيُحَذِّرُكُمُ اللَّهُ, وَيُحَذِّرُ mean warns, kum meaning you, Allah, Allah, nafsahu, of Himself. وَإِلَى اللَّهِ, and to Allah. Wa, and ila meaning to Allah, Allah. Al-Masir, the return, the final return. Again, la yattakhidh. La yattakhidh mean must not take or let not take. Al-mu'minun, the believers. Al-kafirin, the disbelievers. Awliya, as friends. Min dunil mu'minin, instead of the believers. The meaning of sentence is that the believer must not take the disbelievers as friends instead of the believers. وَمَنْ يَفْعَلْ, and whoever does ذَلِكَ, that. And whoever meaning whoever takes them as friends, فَلَيْسَ مِنَ اللَّهِ, he has no relation, min Allah, with Allah, fi shay'in, whatsoever, illa, unless, an tattaqu, you guard yourself, minhum, from them, tuqatan, against an apprehension, meaning if you want to save yourself from them, from any apprehension, then it is allowed. It is called mudarat. وَيُحَذِّرُكُمُ اللَّهُ نَفْسَهُ, وَيُحَذِّرُ, and Allah, wa, and yuhadhiru mean warns, kum, you, Allah, Allah, and it means Allah warns you, nafsahu, of Himself, وَإِلَى اللَّهِ, and to Allah, al-maswir, is the return, al-maswir, return.